All right, let's bring in Ulrich Brueckner. He's a political analyst, and he joins us now from Athens, the Greek capital. Ulrich, good to have you on our special coverage. I want to start by asking you, if there is to be a best-case scenario, what would it be?
Well, the best-case scenario is that the final communique that every party that came together today in Berlin will be signed, and it will be the beginning of a sustainable process that will lead to a better humanitarian situation, that weapons embargo will be enforced and the situation on the ground will be better, and that could lead in the long run to something like a more stable government that can address all the terrible conditions at the moment that Libya is confronted with.
Do you think that a weapons embargo is actually a realistic goal, thinking about what our correspondent in Tripoli has just said, with Haftar's forces continuing to attack as this conference gets underway in Berlin, but also the Turkish president, the Turkish side actually saying that, if Haftar continues with these attacks, that the Turkish side will teach them a lesson?
Well, that is certainly the background noise of negotiations like that. You have to bring something to the table to appear as a strong man. But it is clearly a proxy war, and the different parties did intense diplomacy before the summit. So from what one could hear in the days before, there are some moves on both sides to control the situation better. Maybe it leads to a communique, but everyone understands that this is a situation that is not sustainable, and it has to be addressed because everyone is so much involved with various interests.
The Turkish side in all this and the Russian side in all this is pretty clear. Why haven't we seen a more unified voice from within the European continent, do you think?
Well, first of all, negotiating defense and foreign policy is still not a fully centralized European competence. This is why the summit does not happen in Brussels, but they picked Germany as a country that did not go to war in 2011 when it was asked by the Western Alliance to join the war. And from standing out, Germany is now considered as a party that does not take sides. So it could be an honest broker and could moderate conflicting interests, which come in the case of France and Italy from the various interests of oil and gas companies that are engaged in Libya. But it also has a lot to do with a directly related refugee situation in 2015 that should not happen again. And the pattern of what we currently see in Syria looks so much like the situation in Libya that no one wants to repeat the same mistakes that have been done in Syria.
Ulrich, I want to finally ask you why you think the United States is visibly absent in all this.
Well, already during the Obama years, it was difficult to convince President Obama to actively engage because Libya is not top on the priority list of countries where the United States want to engage in. And secondly, given the current situation with the American government, another engagement that could lead to peacekeeping troops on the ground or whatever form of an unpredictable situation is certainly the least the current American president wants to face.
All right, Ulrich Brueckner, live for us in Athens. Thank you for joining us here on this special coverage. I do appreciate your analysis and input.